Welcome to the Buick Outdoors Podcast. I'm your host, Sheldon Marion, and in this podcast we dive deep into the outdoors. We discuss hunting and fishing techniques, give you tips and tricks, tell stories, and everything in between to help you enjoy the outdoors. Today's podcast is brought to you by H-Hour Apparel. H-Hour Apparel is a veteran-owned company that represents the type of person that stays active, enjoys the outdoors, and can throw down one hell of a party. They give back to those who need it. Their main pillar is giving back to veterans, and they donate to local and federal charities in order to help out fellow brothers and sisters in arms. This is how they adopted their slogan to show who they are and where they stand. We are born free and raised strong. Check them out at hhourapparel.com and purchase one of their many shirts, hats, hoodies, stickers, or the very popular mystery bundle. And if you use promo code Buick Outdoors at checkout, you'll receive 20% off your order. That's hhourapparel.com, promo code Buick Outdoors. Well, welcome back to another Buick Outdoors podcast. I'm your host, Sheldon Marion, and just got back from a fishing trip to Prince Rupert BC. It was always a blast going down there, getting to fish for about a week. Went after salmon, halibut, prawns, crab, and we kind of targeted octopus, but it was more just I wanted to catch one, and we ended up catching 3 big ones there that we ended up keeping and taking to the fish processor. And then we also caught in that one trap, I think there was 3 or 4 little octopus. They were maybe kind of like 3 inches long, so those got sent overboard. Didn't keep them, because the octopus too, I really wanted to catch one of them because I love trying to cook new things up, and I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos and such, and found a lot of people that were cooking octopus, and it didn't look all that bad, and kind of curiosity got the best of me. So yeah, I really wanted to catch an octopus, and actually caught one. So I was fairly surprised with that, but yeah, that thing, it cooked up real nice too. That was awesome. Pretty well cut the head off right underneath its eyes. Then you pull the beak out, and the beak, it's like a parrot's beak. That thing is just hard as a rock. It's pretty cool looking. And then pretty well blanched it in boiling water 3 times. And then put it back into the water, turned off the heat, let it sit there for 20 minutes. And then I just sliced the legs off, took it out to the barbecue, and I kind of seared all sides of it, brushed on some barbecue sauce, and once as you peel the skin off, that thing, it tasted like the kind of like the fat and the cartilage off of like a beef steak. It was phenomenal. So now I think that's going to be a yearly thing where however many octopus we catch, I think you're allowed 2 per day per person. So, yeah, I think from now on, every time I catch an octopus, I'm keeping that thing. Because, man, it was delicious. And now I got an octopus in the freezer here, took it to the fish processor. They skinned it, and then they kind of divided it up. So one octopus is like 4 packages. So that'll be pretty cool to try different things with. But weather-wise, we had great weather while we were out there. There was a couple of days where the wind picked up pretty bad, so we didn't go out, but for the most part we had some rain, a little bit of wind, kind of high tides, but that's the ocean. You can't control any of that. You just kind of dress for the weather and go fish. But one thing I do want to mention too while we're talking about weather is an app called Predict Wind. If you're doing any kind of ocean fishing whatsoever, Predict Wind is, man, it's a must. Now, I never used it before up until this year, and what a lifesaver that thing could be. The one day you wake up and it was nice, calm, clear skies, checked out Predict Wind, and it was like, oh boy, by about 2 p.m. we got to get back into town because it's calm and cool right now, but by about 12 it's going to be about 15 knots of wind. By about 2 p.m. or 3 p.m., whatever it was, it's going to be like 20 to 25 knots of wind and seas of 2 meters and stuff, and that's just bad news. You don't want to be out on the ocean in that. But Yeah, the boat that we use, it's a Kingfisher 2225. That's Dad's boat there, and that thing, I don't want to say it's bulletproof, but you can you can go into some pretty bad weather with that boat and feel pretty safe. But unfortunately for my cousin, he has a 2425 Kingfisher, and the design on that one, I'm not going to get into it too much. Like, this is going to be a complete different podcast for that boat, because it's something that definitely needs to be talked about, and Kingfisher should 100% absolutely look into fixing this problem, because there's a good chance somebody's going to sink their boat if they don't. Pretty well in the bow of the boat, they're all self-bailing bows, but the waves that he was taking on, once the wave came over the bow, the self-bailers, they weren't pushing the water out fast enough. And then inside the cab, on both your port and starboard side, there's little shelves that you can put your stuff there. But on his boat, those shelves, they go all the way through and into the bow. So there's a big opening. And so once the wave would come over the bow, it would hit that, and it would send water into the cab and also into the back of the boat. And the waves that they were in, it didn't sound like it was bad weather. But my dad was with him that day, and in the back of the boat, he was up to his knees in water, bailing water out because the bilge pumps couldn't keep up. And they actually ended up calling the Coast Guard. So the Coast Guard sent out their quick response team, and also their big ass boat. So the quick response team, they showed up, they boarded his boat, they helped pail water out, and then when the big boat showed up there, it pretty well just went in front of Wade's boat and was just breaking waves for him. So he was just kind of driving his boat back into port there behind the big boat, and just trying to keep all the water out as they can while they had all the bilge pumps on. And yeah, that was a bad situation anyways, and it's something that could be fixed. And he ended up calling up Kingfisher there, and they said put tape over it. But I don't know, I think that boat would have been parked right at the factory in Vernon if they told me that, that 24-25 Kingfisher. Now that boat is like $150,000. You're telling me to stop the boat from sinking with $2 worth of duct tape? That thing would be for sale and sold right now if that was my boat, but it's not, thank God. But anyways, that's enough of that. I'll one of these days I'll see if Wade will do a podcast here with me, and he can tell his side of the story. Maybe get my dad on here too, because he was there for that whole show. But yeah, fishing during a pandemic, it was just like any other year. Drive down to Prince Rupert, there's trucks and trailers and boats all over the place. The only thing that you didn't see is the ferries and people from the States around, but for the most part, it just seemed like another fishing season to me. You see lots of boats out on the water, everybody's fishing, everybody's happy, everybody's healthy. Yeah, didn't seem like a pandemic to me. The drive down there, I love that. Driving through the Pine Pass, because I live up in Fort St. John area. So I drive down across the Braden Road, then I go to Chatwin, go through the Pine Pass, then go through Prince George, then I don't know what the hell highway that is that I go down, but you get to kind of Kitwanga, Mazian Junction, Terrace, and then Prince Rupert. And it's a long drive, but it's very scenic. And once you get onto the Skeena River, though, too, and you start to smell that ocean water a little bit, it's pretty hard not to put the pedal to the metal and do that last hour or two drive as fast as you can. But no sense getting a speeding ticket or getting into a wreck. And while I was there, I did a bunch of filming for a YouTube channel there. So I got some videos made up of salmon, halibut, and prawns. Didn't get a video of crabs. Well, I got some, but not really enough to put a video together. I'd rather have a good video that, it's enjoyable to watch instead of just some random shit that you throw together. And then same thing with the octopus. I didn't have to go pro on, but the only thing that you missed with me pulling prawn traps and going, whoo, right on, we got an octopus. Yeah, whatever. Maybe next year there I'll just keep the GoPro on all the time, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, and we'll see what kind of equipment I have then too. I mean, I have a year to plan for the next trip, pretty much, unless I go again in August. But I think I'm taking a holiday trailer out and going to be doing some moose hunting in a spot where the season still opens up August 15th. So hopefully I can find a bunch of moose over there. But yeah, and now that I'm back home, I've been doing a whole pile of cooking. I've been filming the cooking too. I think right now I got some bacon wrapped halibut bites video put up. I'm going to be working on a prawn video. Tonight or tomorrow I might do up an octopus too, just so I can kind of get that done and over with. That way I don't really have to worry about anything when I go back on shift here in a couple of days. But yeah, that's pretty well it for the YouTube side of things. We've been busier than ever. We finally hit 100 subscribers on YouTube today, so that's pretty cool. Somebody's gonna get a free hat over that deal. Yeah, but back to Prince Rupert. Man, the salmon fishing was just phenomenal. I don't think we had one day where it was bad. Get out there in the morning, like we would leave town not super early. Like there's been times where we'd have to be unloading the boat at about 3 a.m. on the water by 4 and out there. But this year was a lot more relaxed. It was way more enjoyable when it's relaxed like that too. You wake up at 5, you're at the boat launch by 5:30, 6 o'clock, something like that. And the one day we started fishing at about 7:30, and by 10 we were limited out for 3 people. So we had 3 people on the boat there that day, and man, it was just phenomenal. And then the halibut fishing too. That was another thing where last year I didn't catch halibut. For some reason during the week that I was there, they just weren't biting all that great. So this year I was really hoping to tie into the halibut, and we did. Every day that we went for halibut, we just slammed them. Prawns were good. Crab was good. Caught an octopus, like I said earlier. We did have issues with our crab traps. It's kind of an ongoing thing in Prince Rupert where some people just are thieving bastards. That's all there is to it. 2 of our crab traps got stolen. I think people stole Wade's prawn traps the one day too. So that's kind of a pain in the ass and pretty expensive too. So like the crab traps, not so much. Like you're still losing like a couple $100. But for the prawn traps, you're looking at about $600 that you lose if somebody steals them. So thankfully for us, nobody stole them. Several times people pulled the prawns out and sent them back down, because where we marked it on the GPS, we found our buoy. That one day was like a kilometer away. We had to search for that one pretty hard. And that's not from tides or drifting or anything like that, because we make sure that we're on bottom with the prawn traps. So, but oh well. I mean, it is what it is. You're not gonna be able to catch them all, kind of thing. And Lord help you if you do catch them. That might be a bad day on the water for those guys. But oh well. Just kind of go on about life. The salmon, they seem to hit anchovy teasers and also the hoochie mamas. I call them hoochie mamas because I don't know, whatever, kind of half retarded or something. Got elk hunting on the brain. But they're hoochies. They're just little squids. They seem to kind of favor the anchovies more than the hoochies, but man, we caught them on both. This year they did seem to be in a bit shallower water, maybe because the water temperature was a little bit colder than last year. We were catching them anywhere between 30 to, I think 60 feet was kind of the max that we would go, but for the most part, 30 to like 45 feet. We were just catching them all day long, and we caught coho, pink, and a couple chinook at that depth too. And uh, typically too, the chinooks, they don't really start running in there until kind of August to September kind of time. But we did catch a couple of them, so that was pretty cool to catch them. But yeah, and then with halibut, it's kind of the same thing every year. We have our little honey holes. They're all between 250 to 350 feet of water, and just use the typical halibut rig with the herring on it and butt juice that you inject into your herring. Another thing that we do too with the herring and our anchovies is that we put them in like a saltwater brine and then a little bit of food coloring. So for the anchovies, we use blue food coloring and then just kosher salt. And for some reason, they like the blue. Typically we use green. This year we use blue. It seemed to work pretty good. And then our herring, it's the same thing. Saltwater brine. It's just water, a ton of kosher salt. And then this year we're using red food coloring, and it worked. I don't know if the color has anything to do with it or if it's just something that catches their eye or what. But one thing that's an absolute must for us when you're halibut fishing is that butt juice. Pretty well, like if we don't have that butt juice, we won't fish halibut. I don't know. It seems to work like a hot damn. If you don't put it on, you can catch them, but for some reason, it seems like it helps you out. And then butt juice is pretty well fish oil, aniseed oil, and a few other things in there. I really don't know what's actually in it, but yeah, it works good. Comes in a small bottle, or you can get a big jug of it that you can refill your little bottles with. And there's a little injection needle that comes with it. So you just fill up your bottle, screw on your little needle. I inject it through kind of the ass end of the herring, and then I go underneath the gill plate and I inject it into its stomach area too. That way, when it's on the bottom of the water there, it slowly seeps out instead of just putting it down its mouth, and it just kind of burps it out in one big, blob. But I don't know. Some people do it other ways. It might work better one way or the other. Whatever, that's just the way I do it, I guess. The fish processor in Prince Rupert, that place is awesome. There's two of them. One is Dolly's, and I can't remember the other one, but either one of them places is excellent. You go there, you pretty well set up an account, so they have your name, your phone number, your pickup date, your fishing license number, and then you pretty well just drop off your fish. They keep track of it, so they know what you dropped off, what you picked up, what your limit is, and all that good stuff. And then at the end, they send you with a little printout sheet. It's just a regular sheet of paper turned on its side, and it lists everything that you've caught, everything that's going to be frozen and packaged and in the cooler. And it cost a little bit of money. I can't quite remember what it was, but for all of my fish, and I think 4 of Dad's fish, it was like $250. But it was a ton of fish. It was 2 big coolers right full of the top, and a couple of octopus, and I think 12 crabs. So I mean, $250 for them to do all that, it's not that bad, especially considering once as I got home, pretty well bring the coolers inside, open up the deep freeze, throw it all in, close the door, and you're done. Like, that's your fish is processed, ready to go, ready to eat. Like, it was awesome. Because typically other years we just kind of put it in fish bags. We have little tags that we zip tie onto the bags, and then when you get home, you have to unthaw all of your fish. You have to fillet them, debone them, skin them, or whatever it is that you do. I always take the skin off and take the bones out. And then you have to put them in vacuum wrap bags, vacuum wrap them, label it all up, and then freeze it again. And if you only got kind of 3 or 4 fish, it's not a big deal. But when you come home with, 8 salmon, 2 halibut, 12 crabs, 250 prawns, 2 octopus, like it starts to become a very, very long process, and it's kind of more of a pain in the ass than anything. But yeah, I know Dad, he's heading back there in August, so he'll be getting into the big Chinooks that are coming up there. Most years I try to go 2 times, but like I said, I'm going moose hunting in a new area that I want to check out. And then also, like, my freezer, it's right full of fish already. So if I went for a second trip, it would be nice just for fishing and filming or something like that. But for food wise, I'm pretty well set. I don't like to catch more than I need, kind of a thing. So my brother and his woman, they're going down there with him, so he's not going to be alone. So that'll be a good trip for them anyways. Nice little father-son trip there with the woman. One trip that we used to do a lot is go into Stewart BC and Hyder, Alaska in September on the Portland Canal. And in September, the fishing is just phenomenal. That's the best fishing you'll ever have. It's a lot of big Chinooks that are running during that time. The only issue is the rain. Every September that we have gone there, it's pretty well raining from the time you get there to the time you leave. Speaking about rain, it's starting to rain here now. I don't know if you can hear the rain hitting the tin roof or not, and it's not just a little rain either. In there, you're pretty well between 2 mountain passes, and it is just a downpour. It's like standing in a shower, like a cold shower, for a week straight. You start fishing in the morning wet, you come in wet, you take your wet clothes off, you put on damp clothes for your evening, you cook up some crab or process your fish or whatever, get ready for the next day, clean the boat out, pretty well go to bed, wake up, put on your wet stuff, and it's a bit of a week of hell, but the fishing sure makes up for it. Once you're out in the boat and you're fishing, you kind of forget about it, but in the mornings and in the evenings, just before you go to bed, you kind of wonder what the hell you're doing there because you're so wet and damp and kind of cold, but you get over it. But anyways, guys, I think that's going to be the end of this podcast here for today. I want to thank you all for tuning in and listening. If you have any recommendations for future podcasts, please reach out to us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is just Buick Outdoors. So, make sure you send us a message or comment on something or whatever, and follow the page. And thank you guys for all your support and continuing helping to continue to make this grow and get a little bit bigger and reach out to more people. And hopefully I can take some of you guys fishing one day or hunting or something like that. And we'll see what happens here in the future. But anyways, guys, thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.